So, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. We look forward to beginning this evening a brand new chapter, Perik Mevov, the 46th chapter, which is on page Samachay in the original text. You could find it as well in the corresponding English text. But I want to mention that I did notice that the previous class, probably the last very few minutes, was cut off, even though I think we finished the entire text till the end. But a bit of the explanation. So I'm just going to pick up very briefly because generally the message was conveyed. They're basically saying because when the person is in Golus, everything about the person is in Golus, including his Avos Hashem is in Golus. In other words, the Avram dimension within him, which is the Avos. Again, you can go back there to pick up on the Avram, Yaakov, Yaakov Asher Podas Avram. The Alter Rebbe quotes a pasuk from Tanakh, presents it differently than its original meaning, than its simple meaning, and the pause is different also. Yaakov Asher Podas Avram, Yaakov, which would redeem Avram. Avram is the midas HaChesed, the midas of Ava, the love which a Yid has to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And basically the message is when a Yid is in Golus, everything about the Yid is in Golus, including his Avos. His Avos Hashem is also in Golus. You remember we mentioned many times one of the great novelties of the Alter Rebbe is that he when he introduces all these different multiple, maybe myriad types of Ava, Yira, love and fear and Rachamim, and so many different expressions, compassion and love and fear, and so Avarab and Avazuto, Yiri Lo, Yiri Tata, multiple layers and multiple levels of loving Hashem, fearing Hashem, and so on and so forth. Alter Rebbe's chidush is that it's not something that it's out of the system of the person, and we go shopping for Ava and grab that Ava and introduce it to yourself, internalize it. So loving Hashem, fearing Hashem, reverence of Hashem, etc. Starting with Perik Yud Ches, Alter Rebbe says basically this is who the Yid is. The Yid, if you notice, even in other words, the Yid, because it's a chelik of the Kamimal, because he's part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so he has innately, inherently in himself, love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And for that matter, because it's a Yid, he has every single level of Ava V'Hira. When you see certain people, by them they're able to tune into that Ava V'Hira, it's not that they have it and the other doesn't have it. The reason why we have it is because we're part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thus, we love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have reverence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And again, we once took the time to expand this chidush and this novelty. But Rebbe introduces it, namely, starting with Perik Yud Ches. For that matter, even to know, even though Rebbe says, "Oh, that's a unique avodah." There's an expression in Perik Malach. Oh, for that you need a avarab, a very special. But continue trying to do it anyways. Accustom yourself to it. Why would I accustom myself to it if I don't have it? Why would I just fake it? Basically, Alter Rebbe is saying, well, it's not on the surface, but it's not manifest by you, but you have it. It's part and parcel of who you are. So basically, in this context, Alter Rebbe is basically saying, if the Yid is in Golus, the Neshama is in Golus, so the Abba is in Golus, because the Abba is part of the Neshama. The love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in Golus. When Yaakov is a certain dynamic and a certain energy which is able to yank the Yid out of Golus, again with the message in the 45th chapter, Li Yaakov, the Rachmanis, starting from Yaakov Avinu, initially Yaakov Avinu, we met Rachel, before he builds Am Yisrael, he gives this head start to Am Yisrael to introduce a deeper level than Rachamim, more than who and what Yaakov represents, which he represents Midas Racham Datzils. Again, you could see it in the previous chapter. And he draws even a deeper energy to give you a head start that despite the Rachmanis, or because of the Rachmanis, perhaps he could yank himself away from his Golus and connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what level, as we might recall, we mentioned you can connect to the deepest level, literally intimacy with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As he yanks himself away, not only removes himself from Golus, but literally he's davik, he's able to cleave and become one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So because of that, Yaakov, that midah of Rachmanis, the character of Rachmanis and Avodas Hashem, again, the message of Perik Memhei, Sasher Podas Avram, it redeems Avram, it redeems our Ava, because if the Yid is in Golus, the Neshama is in Golus, the Ava is also in Golus, because the Ava is part of the Neshama. So the Yaakov, the Midah Rachmanos, Shepodas Avram, he redeems Avram and redeems the Av. Again, you can look there, and when I say look there, as I repeat for all the newcomers all the time, or rather every class. And namely, for the newcomers, you can find this class, this past class, on this past chapter, for that matter, from the very beginning of Tanya, on the tanyaonline.com website. It's easy, just the advantage of it, it's easy to follow. It's sort of scroll bar with the text. It's simply easy to follow the class, and easy access to all the previous classes, and they come up in the same fashion as we always mention. And with this, we'll start Perek Mem Vav. Here, the Perek Mem Vav, the Alter Rebbe also uses the same terminology. If you remember Perek Mem Hen, the Alter Rebbe also used the lashon derech yashar. Eidish derech yashar, straight way. There's a straight way. There's different ways to get from one place to the other. There's a straight way, the highway, as we would call it. It's a straight way. Get onto it. You'll get to your destination. And here also the Alter Rebbe says, get on this way. It's straight. It's attainable to you. It's pertinent to you. And he says it's shavel chol nefesh. Many expressions, well, it says really just get onto it, get going on this way. It'll do tremendous for you. And it's not difficult to get onto that highway on this derech, because he says it's a derech hayash, it's a straight highway. The contrary, when people get from one place to the other, it's complicated to get through the side streets because you get easy to get lost. But you're on the highway, you're on the straight way, and it's easy to get to your destination. Alter Rebbe says clearly, and this is a derech yosher. This is a very straight way, lifnei ish, in front of man, in front of the human being. Shava l'chol nefesh, and he says it's equal to every soul, which means it's extremely attainable to every. And he says more than that, korev adover ma'id. It's very close, and not only uses the word once ma'id, he says ma'id. Remember we mentioned a few times that whenever Tatus says ma'id, it means tremendously more. In other words, infinitely more than just twice. Ma'id itself has already the connotation of infinity, or bligvul, like it says, with all your heart, with all your soul. Seems like you got to the top. You love Hashem with all your soul, as Mishnah says, even means to give up your life. So what could b'chol ma'idcha add over that? Chassidus explained it's a deeper level of love, b'chol ma'idcha, with all your might, even over b'chol avavcha, b'chol nafshecha, even b'chol nafshecha. And here it says twice ma'id, which shows that it's extremely attainable. So ma'id itself has the connotation of bligvul, and that bligvul, in other words, korev bligvul, it's limitlessly close to you, if you will. Nothing stopping you from getting onto that way. And he says ma'id me'id, which again, it's a double lashon. We had in Parashat Shlach, Teva Oretz Ma'id Ma'id, as the commentators explain, it's not just double, but Ma'id Ma'id, it's truly believable. For that matter, it's interesting, we find it not only with the word Ma'id, Ma'id, whenever Teva says twice, Echech Techiach, Shalech Teshalech, it doesn't feel a me'apam, there's no limit anymore. It's not twice. There's no limit. I heard one I thought it was a brilliant example, or a example which one could appreciate. You face two mirrors face each other. You find it in the barber shops, right? Two mirrors face each other. It's endless, and by definition, it's endless. The reflection of one mirror to the other, because they're facing each other. When Tatus says twice, Echech Techiach, Shalech Teshalach, Nasin Titin, it's a filim me'apamim, because it's not only twice. There's no end. In this case, it's even more, because it's similar to, but in this case, even more, because the ma'id itself has the connotation of limitlessness. And ma'id twice. And what's the ma'id? Korev, that's how much it's close to you. Related to you, it's pertinent to you. It's attainable to you. In other words, there's no limit how much it is attainable to you. It's limitlessly attainable to you, if you will. So get onto that road, get onto this derech. And what is the derech? Which Alter Rebbe is telling us. In Perek Mem Vav, la'eider lahoyer la'ava, to arouse and to illuminate the light of love, which is anchored and hidden in the person's heart. And again, this is the mesuteres we spoke about in Perek Yud Ches. If you remember, this is the innate, inherent love Yid has to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a love which comes through his beidinus, from meditating and pondering the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which produces a love. Even it's more a passionate love. That's what Rebbe writes in Kotetei. There's a chaysin and a yasi. A yasi is more of a passionate love, as opposed to in other words, the arousal of the love in the spousal relationship as opposed to a sister, a relative, a natural, biological relative. It's not meant to be passionate, but you can't divorce a family member by definition, because it's part and parcel of who you are. You come from the same source, and therefore there is an innate, inherent love. So it's not necessarily that passionate, but it's not meant to be. But it's cool. It's anchored. It's absolutely. There's a certain absoluteness, because you have a biological relative there. The Alter Rebbe explains in Achaisi, but how much more so a child to a parent. It's not a child appreciates what the parent does, and as such has a drive to the parent. It's much deeper than that, because it's mususeres, it's inherent, it's hidden in the very heart of the child. But nonetheless, Alter Rebbe says many times that the message is that the Ava should not remain misuteres, it should not remain hidden. It should come out minas hester el agili, from a state of concealment, rather from a state of hiddenness, obscurity, to a state of manifestation, a state of revelation. And the person should have a passionate love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, this very love should be a passion, is very inherent and innate love. The Yiddes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu should come to the surface, should be manifest, should be a passionate love. So that's what he says, to shine. To shine the light of this love, which is tkuam, which is inherent, or anchored, and hidden in the heart of the Yid, which means it's inherent with the Yid, that it should not remain misuter, it should not remain hidden and obscure, but it should shine with a potent light, ka'esh bayaro, like a fiery, like a flamey fire, a passionate, in other words, the love should be a passionate love, like a flamey fire, bizgalus libi, in a revealed manner in his heart and in his mind, which means that the love would come from a state of hester to a state of gilui, to a state of manifestation. And again, not just peeking through, in other words, minimally expressing itself, but me'ira b'teikef, it would shine with its great potent light, like a fiery flame. That's how much it's bizgalus libi, that's how much it's revealed, that's how much it's manifest, which would express itself Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakil v'nidvari. Which would express itself limsa nafshel Hashem, to give up his life to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the gufing, not only his nefesh but his bodily, literally to expire for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like someone is driven to something, there is no end to in what way he would express that love. There are no obstacles, because he has a passionate love to something or to somebody. And in this case, because he has this enormous love, in other words, this love is made b'teikef with its great, enormous light. There's no obstacles, meaning to say, nothing would stop him to cleave, to connect, to be driven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even to Mesiras Nefesh. He has to give up his soul, and the gufa even to the expiration of his body. Uma'ede, and it's all his might. And also, Maidi has the connotation of money, as the Gemara says, the Mishnah points out, based on the Mishnah, as people are in favor of their money more of their life, and therefore the Pasuk says, because the person, rather, by definition, in other words, the way that Hashem created a person, it's inherent in the psyche of a person that we're inclined to money. So the Pasuk says that nothing should stop you. Even your monetary interests and your monetary inclinations, or inclination to monetary matters, you should give that up also for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why would you give it up? Because you're in love with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because the love comes from a state of hester, from a state of obscurity, hiddenness, to a state of manifestation, a state of revelation. And what kind of revelation? But take a fighter with its great, intense, potent light, like a fiery flame, which is again total passion to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore he's ready to give up everything, b'chol leiv, b'chol nefesh, with all heart, with all soul. Not in its breadth, but it's in depth. Be'emes lamita, again, depth is about emes, because it's not just on the surface, it's me'umka delibra, from the depth of one heart, as such be'emes, and again, a double lashon be'emes lamita, twice emes, which is an absolute truth. And particularly, in other words, this is in general, you'd have the ability to, again, How? He's going to tell us how. What meditation? What's the derech hayosha that the person is able to bring this to the surface in his entire composure? In other words, everything about him, but particularly, in other words, throughout the entire time. But particularly when the time of Krishma, and its brachas like Mishis Bar like explained. Who, and that is when a person pays attention to this, what it says, what the pasuk says, this is a pasuk Shlomo HaMelech says in Shir HaShirim, I believe, or in Mishlei, excuse me, it's a Mishlei, probably, yeah, it's probably Mishlei. Get Kamaim Apanim Milpanim, just like a face which presents itself in tranquil water, which is pretty much the mirror idea. When you show a particular countenance and you show a particular presentation in a mirror that's exactly instantaneous, that's what the mirror is going to reflect back at you. In other words, when you show a smiling face in a mirror, instantaneously, that's the image you're going to see. You show a mediocre, smiley face, that's exactly what the reflection is going to be. And if you show a mean face, a sour face, that's what you're going to see. That's the reflection, what is going to come straight back at you. And again, to use the terminology of Shlomo, tranquil water has that ability to reflect this which we present, the countenance which we present in front of this tranquil water. Again, it's the mirror dynamic. So Shlomo HaMelech says it works the same way, that your heart, the way your heart is presented to another person,